So, hope you're enjoying the music feed. There will be shout outs on there for other amazing YouTubers who deserve shout outs because they earn it with their quality content. Um, because they're sharing ideas that other people can use. And when you come back to them, say thank you for your idea and so on, I'll give you a shout out. Then suddenly you got a communication, a community. So rubbing salt into a wound there. As for Jason Lee Smith, I don't think I'll be making many more videos on him because he's done. He is done. He's, I've never, perhaps I have, but I find it hard to remember anyone else I've come across to dig their own hole so fast. You just, wow. We got proof, proven, provable. How many times do you keep saying that and then without actually showing evidence for your claim before people with an IQ above that dirt, you're full of shit. So then that's the thing. Everyone with an IQ above that of dirt can see that he's just bullshitter for drama, so which drives the traffic, and Unirock, PayPal me. And while you're PayPaling somebody, what do they offer? Oh, more bullshit. PayPal me, more bullshit. Wow, just do something for the world, So, but I don't know anything. I just found a laptop and got on the internet and then just discovered the internet apparently to some empty-headed nutter. Which has, so empty-headed there's an echo in their head of Jason's mantra, but they're the first to say, you should look at both sides, you've got no insight. It's funny that, because the first time Steve's crowd really got to notice me and who I was, they told me I got some good insight, because I did a couple of videos on egotism, the bullshittery of Kyle Curtis, and how egotism sets you up for failure and so on. But I am nobody that special in ways of I'm not an expert, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that. But it was nice to have feedback to tell me, I think you're onto something. Thank you for that. So modification for the X220. Put the chip in, as you saw on the video for the Exploring Minds channel, and this helped quite a bit. There was downtime, a little bit of slower time actually with the internet provider recently, so that was slow, but it's back up to normal now, so they apologise for that. I've also installed this new chip which I had to cut a pin off, it flashed the BIOS and all these things. It was quite a little mini project, if you will, and it's worked out well. The piece of hardware that was never really meant for the X220. Cutting the pin off enabled the actually cut a pin off a chip. It's not that's the original, but they're like that, and you cut pin 21 off, and hey presto, the Bluetooth shows up because there's a Wi-Fi as well as a Bluetooth chip all in one. And took that out took that out of the machine that is the chip that picks up mobile phone networks. That's being replaced by an mSATA drive, which Windows I'll use 5% of the time perhaps. Linux 95% of the time. There's that number again. And, you know, Microsoft has collapsed under the opinion of Windows 7 being really good. It was one of them. Really was one of the best operating systems they put out. Windows 10 is utter garbage. Not because it has a steep learning curve, but because it's garbage, right? Windows has a steep learning curve. Well, maybe for some people, if you're not too bright. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of layman uses of Windows that the average user doesn't. Yeah, the average user can utilize. They don't need to be too technical. It's not really that difficult if you get into the technicalities of like, you know, your swap page, settings, partitioning hard drives. What else? You know, I don't know. Different things you can do. Regardless. So Microsoft pulled the plug on Windows 7 about 5 months ago, maybe more than that. I'm not sure. 6, 7, 8 months ago. About 6 months ago now. So forcing a switch to Windows 10. So people had a rough choice. Either stick with a dying operating system, there's no support for it anymore, or jump to something that is so unintuitive because of its immediate difference in layout that there's a bit of a learning curve there, yeah, but that's just, you know, it's ugly, really ugly as well, and it's Cortana crap as well, just a resource hog, really. And the back doors with Windows is a security threat all the time. The kernel, the core structure of Linux is run on all of the world's supercomputers now. Well, again, you know, some of them might be running something different, but none of them run Windows. And of course, what we publicly run, the citizenship, what we run is different to that, but doesn't mean it can't be used for some of that as well, how you build around it. Linux machines are on the International Space Station. This is good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Even ThinkPads as well, that I'm been modifying some of these. It's very little wonder that the ThinkPads are used on the station, because you're in a microgravity, things floating around. These things can take some abuse, they can be bumped around and still they're fine. Try doing that with a modern day laptop, flimsy, crappy sort of build quality. But we all know who to blame for fashionable laptops, right? Yeah, named after a fruit. So I found that interesting, that Windows and Microsoft really, I don't like using it because they own your machine. They literally own partially ownership of your machine. The business model for Windows 10 was, the idea was like, this is the last operating system from Microsoft because they're going to monetize the updates. So now you've got a computer, if you're running Windows, in which you never stop paying for. Which is a little bit wrong, I think. You know, it should be, that's unfair. Really unfair. Linux is free. Hobbyists just, you know, people just program or do a bit of edit here and there, or they might even just get a load of stuff that's already done for them, put it into an installation and ship that out, fork that out as a distro, and name it something slightly different. Name it a particular name for the distro, right? And it works. It is buggy here and there. There's clunky ways to install things, but it's actually coming around now to different packages like Flatpaks software, Tarball ways to install things, and software. What do they call it? What's it called on my Peppermint machine? Software manager. And it just brings up a window that detects through the internet which packages you can install, and you just install them off a list. Through that front end, it's point and click like Windows users are used to. You double click something and you're installing it. That's coming around more and more now on Linux-based machines, rather than doing the Control Alt T and you get your terminal up and you got to type in a number of things to install things. And I got TeamViewer installed. TeamViewer now is easy to install it's literally like a Windows installation. But you go to their site, they give you a Linux download, rather detects what you're using, give you a Linux link, and that was let's have a look. Show all downloads. Give an example. It's like Debian. What I'm running now is a mix of Debian and Ubuntu. So Debian package is just install really easy. You don't need to do the command line thing. If you're running OBS, by the way, good hint at it running more efficiently. Useful hint is run it from a terminal. Don't just run it from the software. Double clicking an icon or whichever. Open your terminal and just type in OBS, and it will run from there. For some reason, it runs better that way, more efficiently, which is great because I discovered that, as well as updating more memory for the ThinkPad from 8GB to 16GB. I'm going to use a mod now with the PCM. I keep forgetting what they call it. The slot, external slot on the side. It can be utilized as an expansion slot, and I can run an external graphics card. There's no dedicated graphics card in X220 machines, so way to do it is run an external one. So you might think, how does it run graphics then at all? How do you see anything? Well, it's running off the Intel chip of the main processor, Intel graphics, and it's an i7 on the machine. I put 16GB in, so that's one of these changes can make it 2020 viable. I know that AMD now are out leading the leader forward now instead of Intel. For a while it was Intel with their i5, i7. There was an i3 as well. Depending on what you get, sometimes an i5 will be better than a i7. There's thread boosting and all this sort of different things you can do. But regardless of all that, yeah, there's see, I knew they'd do this. Windows 7, they had to, because they was losing a lot of user base. This is how I played with Linux now and then. Thought, it's okay, but there were some shitty Linux versions I tried as well. I thought, no, not too good. And I thought I decided to look into it a bit more. Then I thought, this is cool. This is a great idea. And I like the way you could run Ubuntu right off the disk. You could run it without installing anything. And, that was a cool idea as well. So many old favourites are coming back within the Windows 7 re-release. It's a 2020 edition. I wonder if they're still charging for updates, so if they were to do that. Who knows? So with Lenovo releasing machines with Linux Fedora pre-installed now as well, so with that going on, it could be a double-edged sword. It could be a really good thing, or it could be a bit dodgy, because we don't want to fuck up. But how one of the worst things to happen to Linux was Android. Some of it was proprietary, some of it wasn't. You couldn't really play with the wiring under the hood sort of thing in terms of forking something and re-editing things, changing things for, which I don't know too much about, but how to, but it should be open. That's the whole concept of Linux. It's open source, right? But at the same time, I think there is a niche market for Lenovo to exploit. They need to release things like upgradable laptops, things that you want and are allowed to pull apart and change the hard drive to a SSD, change the memory to memory sticks higher memory, and actually now in my machine I can go a little bit faster with the chips. I mean, on the basic factory defaults, if I add the top speed of the SD RAM memory sticks, no, not SD, DDR, isn't it? Regardless, you're only going to get a set speed, but because I flashed the BIOS now, that's different. You will get the top speed, and there is a performance boost there as well. Great. Upgradable, change the memory, change the hard drive, change the Wi-Fi chip, change the chip for the mobile phone things, change that to an mSATA drive. Then you got a dual boot system with 2 drives in it. Great. You got, I don't like partitioning drives, because if you have anything go wrong with your hard drive, you can't access the other boot. Like you could boot from Windows or Linux, but in this case, turn your machine on, press the right key, keep it held down, and you get a boot from specific device. So you boot from the mSATA or you boot from the hard drive. I've changed the screen as well on the system on one of these units. I forget which one it is now, because there was a crack in the screen. I was really pissed off with that. But it was next to nothing and really easy to install. Unscrew the bevel, and it's just a ribbon cable connector. Take one off, put the other one in, put the bevel back on, screw it back in, turn the machine on. Hey presto, you got a new screen. I might change the speakers. It's no idea. I like playing with all this. I might change the speakers in one of them, see where that goes. I might get a spare one actually altogether to mess about with. Because I don't want to ruin anything on the ones that I'm using mainly. Thanks for watching. Take care. And Jason Smith, wow, what a loser. What a complete loser. It's sad when people perfect a skill at losing, and because that's what he's doing. The more people he annoys, the more the word gets around, particularly with the internet, and everyone can see it. Who's telling the truth? Well, it's pretty obvious now, isn't it? Jason doesn't know how to tell the truth because he has no love for integrity, facts, and no understanding of why it's important. And KJP, oh yeah, he trod on the landmine there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, and you will get shout-outs on the audio feed, like I said. I just thought I'd just do this quick update. Cheers, bye. Keep up the good work, everyone. For the real communities out there that really help each other. You're awesome. Cheers, bye.